right, if I could, I'd like to call the West Baton Rouge Parish Council meeting to order. I'd ask everyone to please stand. I'd ask you to please put your electronic devices on silent. And I would ask that Mr. Phil Porto lead us in the pledge. Thank y'all very much, and the machine is open for roll call. We have a quorum. We'll move on to item number 4, approval of the minutes from the August 23rd, 2018 regular meeting. We have a motion by Barry Huggins to approve, seconded by Charlene Garden. Is there any questions on the minutes? Any questions? Seeing none, the machine is open to vote for approval of the August 23rd minutes. Motion passes. Item number 5, considering any amendments to the agenda, and we have quite a few. We have 5.
You want to do these
We're gonna-
individually or both?
We can do them all. Do you have it separate? Do you have them all separate? Or
Whichever
you-
way you want, boss.
we can do them all together.
Yeah, nobody has any.
Let me read them. A, appoint Constable Ward 5, West Baton Rouge Parish to fill the unexpired term of Mr. Michael Mike David Sr. B, proclamation calling for the special election of the Constable Ward 5, West Baton Rouge Parish. C, resolution authorizing parish president to submit application through the Office of Community Development Local Government Assistant Program. D, a resolution expressing West Baton Rouge Parish Council support for the fiscal year 2018-2019 capital outlay request for project to construct another bridge across the Intercoastal Canal at State Highway 415 to serve as an alternate evacuation route referred to as LA 415 Bridge over Intercoastal Canal, LA 1 I-10 connector. E, a resolution expressing West Baton Rouge Parish Council support for the fiscal year 2018-2019 capital outlay request for a project to construct a roadway to connect Sid Richardson Road and State Highway 1148. With that, I have a motion by Barry Huggins, seconded by Kirk Elaine, to amend the agenda for these items. It'll have to be a unanimous vote to amend the agenda. So with that, the machine is open to vote to amend the agenda. Motion passes. The agenda has been amended. Item number 6, appoint temporary Constable Ward 5, West Baton Rouge Parish to fill the unexpired term of Mr. Michael Mike David Sr. I believe this happens to fall between me and Phil's district. As you know, it stated earlier, Mike David Sr. held that position. He actually took his mother's position, Miss Nolan David, and now this position is vacant. I know that Mike David Jr. has sent in a resume to everyone asking that he would love to fill this position. So, do I have a nomination of a person?
I nominate Mike David Jr.
I got Mike David Jr. has been put into nomination to serve that position until the election. Any
Well,
others?
Just one question, Gary. If we do appoint him, can he run for that position?
Yes, he can. Yes, we checked into that, and whoever
I don't think so.
whoever's appointed could run for that position.
Okay.
Is there any other names to be nominated? Seeing none, we'll vote on the motion to appoint Mike David Jr. into the position until election. Okay? The machine is open to vote. Motion passes. Item number 7, proclamation calling for the special election of Constable Ward by West Baton Rouge Parish. And Michelle, which, we had come up with the dates.
Yes, sir.
Um,
It would be, it's right here, would be, primary election shall be held Saturday, October 12th, 2019, and the general election shall be held Saturday, November 16th, 2019.
Okay, all right. So everyone has a proclamation in front of you. It's just calling for that election on those dates. I have a motion by Barry Huggins to approve the proclamation, and it's been seconded by Ms. Charlene Gordon. Is there any questions on the proclamation? Any questions? Seeing none, the machine is open to vote for approval of the proclamation. Motion passes. Item number 8, Parish President's Report. Mr. Berthelot.
Good evening, council members, Mr. Chairman, council members. This week, the Louisiana Association of Museums held their annual convention in Baton Rouge, and I received the award as a Public Official of the Year award given to somebody in Louisiana. Of course, I was nominated by Angelique Bergeron, who's our director over there. And so I accepted this award on behalf of all of the people who have helped in the museum, all our departments, whether it be recreation, helping unloading crates as these exhibits come in, some of the stuff we did with our drainage and roads, and park and recreation people, and Huey's guys. So we did a lot of that. So I accepted this award on behalf of West Baton Rouge Parish, and just want to let you know that we did get some state recognition on that.
No, congratulations, Pee Wee, on that award.
Thank you. I do want to let you know that we have a public hearing with DEQ here on the 20th, that's next Thursday, at 6 o'clock on the Thermodyne project. So, if you'd like to come and voice or hear what they have to say, you're welcome to do that. The 26th of this month, I'm the guest speaker at the chamber, so I'll be doing my little state of the parish. I don't have anything ready as of yet, and so we're still working on it, but, y'all all invited to come. Just let Michelle know who's coming. They'll send your names in ahead of time. And, of course, in October the 7th is the Sugar Fest, which is at the museum, and so we're going to be doing some other things with the museum this year, and so look forward to it. It's always a great time over there, so you can make it. I got a letter today from Paul Sawyer, and they have a Australian ambassador who's coming to New Orleans on Monday the 24th, and they're gonna have a roundtable talking about how they use some incentive to circulate monies and stuff for infrastructure and what they're doing in Australia. And he's invited me to sit at that round table to discuss some of these incentives and see the way that we're gonna be able to use some of the things they're using over there to try to fund some of these big projects, whether it be the Mississippi River Bridge or our connector. He's invited people from Lake Charles on the I-10 bridge, I-49 people, so it's quite a few state people, and so he invited me to sit at the round table with him, so I'll let you know how that turned out. That's pretty much all I have. I'll be glad to answer any questions if you have anything.
Any questions to the parish president? Pee Wee, I have a couple of things that I need to ask real quick. And Philip will probably have to answer this question. I've been asked about if the firemen receive their two-step pay raise as other employees.
The firemen get their 2% on their annual, I guess, the anniversary date. The hire date. They get their 2% every year.
Okay, but whenever Phil, I believe it was, that made the motion to give the employees a pay rate, he made it specific that it would be a two-step pay raise, 2 steps.
I
And
think the
just-
council made that motion. We didn't make that.
Y'all recommend 2 steps, but we never have done it for the firemen. I mean, whenever we come before you for cost of living, it's just been for our employees. I think the firemen would have to be done, which you plan on doing, be doing separated fire boards, I think.
So it would have to come from the fire board?
I would think, yeah, we've never done anything for the firemen.
Okay.
It's always been
All right.
for the parish employees, and we handle this.
Do we still have a firm that does all the payroll and everything, so you don't even handle payroll or anything for the fire service? All right, so we need to put that on the agenda in the fire board, meeting to have that discussed, on that, the raise for the firefighters. And I saw on the news the other night, we have, some of our firefighters went to South Carolina.
We had one person
Okay.
that went, there may be others that go. I talked to someone, Butch Brown, and he's over there, you know, and they got a lot of people from Louisiana, you know, heading that way.
Yeah, I know that certain, I'm talking about West Baton Rouge.
Yes, we do have, I forgot which one it is.
So we did get to send one person.
Yeah, we sent him, and in fact, we are getting we have a little bunkhouse trailer that when we had the flood in 2016, we loaned it to the city of Baker. I think it sleeps about 6 to 8 people, and it's a little trailer that we pull around. It's got a generator and air conditioning stuff in it. And we brought it to get service today, get new tires and get the bearings and everything greased. And so, because right now they're putting them up, but after the storm, they'll move closer to the area that's devastated. If it happens, then they're gonna need a place to stay. And so we have that ready to go. We're gonna send it up there. In fact, I think Kenny Hunt's gonna pull it up there, you know, as soon as he get word to come.
Okay, all right. And the only other question I have, and someone called me and asked me the question, supposedly at the Port Allen City Council meeting, the people who had asked to do the subdivision in Court Street had went to the city of Port Allen and made a statement that they were gonna do only 70-foot lots. Do y'all know, I mean, I know they told me Fish was there. Do y'all know anything about it or can help me on that?
Well, I don't remember exactly all the details. I took a bunch of notes, and if I'd had that piece of paper, I could tell you exactly. But their project, as they described it at Port Allen, was much different than what they described to us. Way different. In fact, I would find it extremely hard for us to have turned down the project that they described in Port Allen. Because what they had here was many more lots, much more density, and what they did over there, and all they were doing was presenting a plan. They weren't asking for approval. This was just like a heads up, here's what we want to do. And in fact, I told Mr. Tatum after the meeting that in my mind, if you'd have brought that project to us, you'd already been building houses. And he just kind of left it at that. So I was very disappointed that
Okay.
that project didn't get presented to our council that way.
But that's what I'd heard, and I didn't know it. I wasn't there, so I didn't know what really took place.
Well, you know, it's kind of a slippery slope for both the developer and the city right now, because they can't approve anything till they do the annexation. And once that annexation is completed, then they could do it. So,
Right.
so I don't know if they're doing a bait and switch or what's happening, you know, but you know, they need to probably get some type of commitment from the city before they go through the annex process, you know, so it's.
Yeah, I totally agree with that part of it, but I'm kind of like what Fish said. I wish that if what I'm hearing, the way they presented it to the city of Port Allen was tremendously different than the way they submitted it to the parish council. And I think the biggest hangup was the smaller lots and everything, and then they're saying now, telling those council members that they're willing to go with 70-foot lots. I wish they would have done that with our parish council, so we could have moved forward. But, Barry Huggins?
Pee Wee, couldn't they simply ask for a rehearing and then bring that proposal to us? We could get that done just that quick.
I think they're actually scared of coming from this council, you know, to be honest with you.
We don't buy it.
Well, you know, and I guess I guess in their craw is that we went and we turned them down. Then they came back and we went through the PUD, we tweaked the PUD, and we tried to figure out what we could live with and what they could live with. And we went and we voted approval. I think we had a 9-0 vote on that. We approved it. And then they presented what we thought we had agreed to, and they got shot down. And so
Yeah,
I think they're a little gun shy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what else to tell you.
Well, I understand. And let me make this comment too. If we turned that down, and we did turn it down, and there are a lot of us that don't like the concept of 50-foot lots. And I think in all fairness to everybody, if that's where we're gonna be, we ought to just repeal the PUD ordinance. Just repeal that section out of our development code. I think that's the only fair thing to do. That it's not fair to have something on our books that we're not gonna approve somebody doing, so.
Well, I know there's probably at least another developer that may approach and want to look at the PUD, but, you know, they kind of nervous about it also.
I understand. And I just don't like the idea that we got something on there that we're not gonna approve somebody doing. I don't think that's fair.
I agree.
Okay.
Mr. Kershaw.
Kevin, can I ask you a question? If they came before us for a rezoning, that's what it was?
That's correct, yes, sir.
And if that's denied, don't they have to wait a minimum of 6 months?
Well, it depends on how you interpret the language about a different request. Is it the same request? Is it a different request? I don't have the language in front of me tonight because I didn't have a lot on the agenda, so I didn't bring my code book with me, but there's language in there about it being the same request cannot be heard within a certain time frame. Yeah.
Okay, but I think what the argument was the size of the lots. What my point was always, the contention was they were asking for a rezoning.
Mhm.
Some of the people up here were stuck on the plat size, what the plat looked like. I wasn't looking at the plat. I mean, I saw it, but what my point was, we were trying to rezone the property. So if they're asking for the same rezoning,
Right.
don't they have to wait that 6 months?
They would be barred, yeah, in that situation. If they're asking for the same rezoning, they would have to wait, yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I understood that. Thank you.
Mr. Huggins.
But Kevin, can't they ask for a rehearing within, it hasn't been longer than they can ask for a rehearing yet.
There's a 90-day window.
Right. It
where
hadn't
they
been
can-
90 days.
Yeah, I mean, we would really have to look at the specific application. We never stop anybody from applying. Anybody can walk into my office and
Oh, I
apply.
got it.
We'll review it at the staff level. We'll discuss it with the parish attorney to see. I mean, I don't want to answer a hypothetical.
I got
We'll
you.
look at it, pass it through the parish attorney, see if it meets the code. If it doesn't meet the code, and go from there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
there's some nuances in there about same request, different request.
I got it.
Yes, sir.
I got it. And I don't want to ask you a hypothetical. I'm not a senator. You're not standing for Supreme Court confirmation.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm kind of like Fish. Don't everybody fall out of your seat because we agree. But I think if we can approve something that's a 70-foot lots, I don't think anybody'd have a lot of heartburn with that. But let me say this, Fish. You are correct. And when you said we were looking at zoning and not the plat, but don't you think that it's unfair to somebody to approve the zoning on something that you're not gonna, you already know, I don't like these lots, so I'm not gonna vote to approve this plat. I mean, where do you know, it's kind of putting the cart before the horse in a sense, but I mean, again, trying to be fair to people. That's all, so.
Go ahead. Mr. Kershaw?
And in response to what you said, it is extremely difficult because it's chicken or the egg. Which one comes first, planning or zoning? Pee Wee made a great point, I think, in the fact that we're kind of looking at both at the same time, which they're trying to show you what they want to do, but by the same token, they shoot themselves in the foot because that gives you more ammunition and bring in 50 or 100 people to be against it. Again, I hate rehashing all the same stuff, but there was 100 people in here that didn't want it. Well, there's 20,000 people that live in West Baton Rouge Parish. I can make the argument that there was 19,900 that weren't here to put in support for it. So, you know, it depends on how you look at it. You say I can write the copy good, but this is just something we're going to argue about forever. Planning and zoning are very, very volatile issues, and people have different opinions on them. And but back to your point, Gary, I just think it was. I don't want to know if it was a slap in the face to us, but it just I became a little irate in the audience when I sat there and listened, because that was not the same presentation that we were given. So I don't know if it's what Pee Wee called bait and switch or whatever, but it was like two different
Right.
stories.
Mr. Porto?
I'm agreeing with Barry that we should repeal the PUD ordinance, because the 50-foot lots are inside of our PUD ordinance. If they ask for a rezoning for that piece of property to a PUD, the 50-foot lots are there. They could show us 70-foot lots all day long, as long as they comply with the PUD ordinance. They could put 50-foot lots. And I think it's to my understanding that they're being, somewhere in RSF 3, I think, isn't it a maximum of 200 acres? Isn't there something that's handcuffing them, Gary, about 200 acres? If
No.
it was, I'm sorry, I'll
What?
go ahead and give the floor to you.
What they have in our ordinance is that you can have 60-foot lots up to a maximum of 200 lots, which we could change that part of it, and they could have 1,000. I don't, if they're 60-foot lots, that's fine, but we already have something in place to where if they wanted to come back, instead of doing 70-foot lots, they could come back and do 60-foot lots, the whole subdivision. So that'd be something that, is already in, it was something that in planning and zoning way before we got on this council, before I got on this council.
They could do the entire 200-plus acre and 60-foot lots for what we presently have on the book now?
Presently, what we have on the books now, they would be limited to 200 lots.
200 lots.
Not saying that we couldn't change that part of it to make it where you could have more lots. I'm just saying.
But that's another avenue.
Right.
That we could go down.
Exactly. If they were gonna present it similar to the way that, I'm hearing that they were gonna do all these big lots, well, we have an avenue for them to, instead of a PUD ordinance, they could do another avenue and do it 60-foot lots.
Just one more time. I called Councilman Kershaw several weeks ago. I was early going to pick up my grandson at school, so I went down that subdivision in Brewley. What was that? Orleans Quarters. Got to the back. I went all the way to the back of the subdivision, and then I called Fish, and he got him to Google to see what size those lots were. And one side of the street was in the low 80 feet, 82, 83, 84, 85. The other side of the street was in the mid-70s. I don't think there was a 100-foot lot on that in that entire development, and it did not look bad at all. And, and Fish and I discussed on the phone. I said, I could go with this. I could go with this type of development. I couldn't live there, but I could vote to have someone develop that type of a project there.
All right, is there any other people, any other questions to the parish president? Seeing no other questions to the parish president, we'll move on to public comments. Anyone from the public want to be heard? Just come to the microphone, state your name for the record.
Vance J. Norman Jr. I live at 615 Leon Street in Brewley, right up the street from the subdivision you're talking about. And while I had the privilege of being the mayor, when that subdivision was developed, we could not write building permits fast enough. I mean, it probably filled up in 2 years. I mean, it was like a feeding frenzy. And you're right, there's small lots, but they're just what people are looking for. I didn't plan to talk about this when I came here. I came to complain about my water bill. But if just like Pee Wee said, if you're going to have an ordinance in place, that's like putting something on a menu at a restaurant. If the guy comes in and says, I want to order entree number 5, and you say, oh no, we're not selling you entree number 5 because the cook don't want to cook it. That's kind of, I mean, you wouldn't go back to that restaurant, okay? Well, if you're not going to use the PUD ordinance, get rid of it.
Right.
End of story. And not only that one, look at all of them. If you're not going to use it, get rid of it. I used to work at a nuclear plant. They used to tell us, don't put it in the specification unless you plan to do it because we're going to shut you down. And they'd shut you down. Same thing here. I mean, I have no remorse for developers, but you put something on the menu and then you say, oh, I just don't like it, you know. Well, that's not right. And I think, and I'm not a legal mind, but they submitted their rezoning for a PUD. If they come back with a different zone or something, you'll have all these zones, you'll have 1,000 of them. I don't see why they'd have to wait 90 days or anything else. They're coming back with a completely new development. That's my opinion. You know, that's all. I didn't want to talk about that, but, and if you wait, and the discussion about lot sizes is interesting because the Planning Commission recommended against it for traffic. No talk about traffic anymore. I guess when you're gonna put 200 lots out there that are 60 feet, then the traffic is not gonna, there's ghost cars, I guess, I don't know. The Planning Commission was looking for a reason to reject it. They didn't care what the reason was. You know, that's just another story. Now, I want to talk about what I came to talk about. I want to complain about my water bill. My wife and I built a new house, and when we built our new house, we sodded the front yard and around the house. We put a lot of sod out there. No sooner had we put the sod out there, and here comes a drought, okay? I mean, it was June, I think it was. It didn't rain at all. It's raining a lot now, but it didn't rain at all then. So I watered nonstop, watered my St. Augustine because I didn't want to lose my investment. And, you know, when it started raining, I quit watering my grass. I get my water bill. My water bill is $34. $34. If I go to a restaurant, if I go to McDonald's, I'm going to spend $34. I've talked to Pee Wee about this. I've talked to Pam about it. I'm here to protest my water bill is too low. It is. Don't laugh. 20 years ago, you could punch a hole in your backyard and you could get perfect water. Free. I mean, there's so much water. It was unbelievable. I read a report, some guy at LSU, I think you pointed me to, said, we have a gold mine here in this part of the state because we have perfect water and it's so abundant. It's incredible. Well, that was maybe 10, 20 years ago, but it ain't like that no more. You know, Mr. Loop was talking about at the meeting the other night, they got to bring water to Addison, Bruley now, and all how expensive it is, and all that stuff. It's no longer a luxury. It's no longer a luxury. It's something we need to preserve. And I don't have to talk to Barry about this. I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir. But well, I can say it. I'm not running offended. The stupid thing about it is that the more water you use in West Baton Rouge Parish, the lower the rate. So that everybody uses a certain amount of water. It's some $6 and some, I don't know, Pam told me what it was, I don't remember. And then as you use more, it's less per 1,000 gallons. Now, duh, that's stupid. That is stupid. You know, we should, a guy like me who waters my grass, and people in Bruley that I know of who own swimming pools, who have a leak in the swimming pool, and they feed and bleed rather than fix the swimming pool. Or people in Bruley that I know of that turn their sprinkler on the west side of their house on that bricks to cool that bricks down because it's hot to reduce their utility bill. They're abusing a resource that we have that is a precious resource. And if you increase the rate as you use more and more water, who in the heck is going to come in here and face you guys and say, I want to protest me wasting water and you charging me for it? That's absolutely ridiculous. Now, they might complain, but if I were in your position, I know what to tell them. Use less water. You know, you need a base amount of water, and I think people do a good job, you know, to bathe and drink and, you know, do the normal stuff is a flat rate. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's very fair, and you don't want to overcharge people that are low-end users. But after that, no. And I'm here to protest to y'all because you guys make the rules. I know Pee Wee, I talked to him Sunday, and I talked to Pam Sunday, and I know they're putting some numbers together and all that. But we need to do it sooner rather than later. And I don't see why we're waiting on it. We need to change the rates to disincentivize wasting water. If I want to go water my grass, I should be able to water my grass. This is America. But I don't have to get it on the backs of everybody else who's losing out on water in this area, and it's getting worse and worse. And we have saltwater intrusion. I mean, you can't punch a hole in the ground no more. You got to go north of the intercoastal to punch in the hole now. And you got to bring it, you know, so there's a lot of, and you know, we're about to spend a lot of money to bring water down. Okay, don't we need more money to do that? Shouldn't we collect more money? I mean, give me a break, you know, so I'm protesting my bill is only $34, and I want y'all to do something about it. Maybe for a guy like me who abuses the system, y'all need to charge me more money. Okay, any questions?
Appreciate them comments.
Okay, y'all gonna introduce an ordinance tonight?
I'm hoping.
Double
that-
it, every 1,000 gallons, double it. And whatever the 1,000 is, double it for 2,000, double it again for 4,000, and you know, you'll get some action. You'll find out what's going on. You'll find out who's got a swimming pool that leaks.
I appreciate those comments, really do, Joe.
Well, but I mean, you know, it's time to, y'all are the guys that are gonna decide that. You know, people
Right.
can recommend stuff and all that, you know, that's all
Right.
data they can collect for you. But this stuff is just sitting around and just waiting and waiting, oh, well, you know. As long as the water comes out your tap, everybody's happy. But we're wasting water, and we gotta stop now, in my opinion, and, you know.
Thank you so
Enough
much.
of
Pee Wee?
Yeah, it's just, we all putting together, you know, I'm working with Jason and Van, we're gonna put together a little spreadsheet about the amount, the average consumption we use in the household and stuff, and see what we can do. And we also talking about addressing the industrial customers we have, you know, because we actually charge them a cheaper rate because they use so much water, than we do for residential. So we're looking at both of those things, and we probably sometime around budget time, we will bring that back to you and see what the rest of the council.
Appreciate that.
So we start working with that.
We're fixing to start on budget hearings. Still under public comments. Any other public comments? Still under. Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 10, communication from council members or elected or appointed officials. We have anyone that, Mr. Huggins got the floor.
Joey, I want to address your comments. And first, first thing I wanted to ask you to do is I want to invite you to the Groundwater Commission meeting on Tuesday, the 25th, at the USGS office on Sherwood Forest in Port Allen. Do that. I would invite you to come and make the same comments. One of the battles that I've fought as chairman of that commission is that our enabling statute requires that we charge everybody the same fee. And, you know, my observation has been pretty much what yours is, that if we charge everybody the same pumpage fee, how do you incentivize anybody to switch water supplies to a supply that couldn't be used for potable water or puts less stress on the aquifer? So I would appreciate it if you'd come and make those comments.
Let me say this, because, you know, anytime you say higher rates, people try to say it's a tax. This is not a tax. The rates should not go up for the basic people, the people who are on a fixed income. There is no way those people should be targeted in any way, shape, or form. I don't know what the rate is now. It's probably, I think Pam said 6 something, 6 to 7. I don't know whatever it is. It shouldn't go up. I'm going to make it clear. I would want to target the high-end users. The more you use, the more you should pay. Why would you use more and be in a lower income bracket? I mean, that doesn't make any, people in the lower income bracket, they don't have swimming pools. They don't have big old yards like I got at St. Augustine all over the place. They just don't have it. So they should not be penalized.
I just did a little back of the envelope calculation. I think that National Sanitary Foundation figures the average household uses about 400 gallons a day. That's what they figure for. If you're going to have a sewer plant, that's what that's based on. And that would be about 12,000 gallons a month. So maybe we should do something where if you're using more than 20,000 gallons a month, I mean, it gives plenty of cushion if somebody's got a house full of kids and got to wash more than, you know.
Yeah, well,
maybe we should do something like that.
We'll be back to discuss that later.
Okay.
If $400, I don't know how much I use at my house, if my, you know, besides my water and my grass. I don't have any idea. It's
Yeah.
just 2 of us. We
Okay.
don't have any kids. But that number can be arrived at where it doesn't burden the people who on fixed incomes and all. But baby, after that,
But send me an email, let me send you an
I'm gonna do that.
invitation. I'd really
Yeah.
like for you to come.
I have to send you an email so that I can write it down, because if I don't write it down,
Okay, very good.
Ricky Luke.
On that note, I remember, and people, correct me if I'm wrong, I agree with you 100%, but isn't there, if we use X amount of water, then you get charged additional monies for something, for sewer?
Actually, Joey is right in saying that, you know, what we do is we charge, I think it's $7.65 for the first 2,000 gallons. And then for the next, say, 1,000 gallons, it might be $1.85 per thousand. And then if you use the next 1,000, it might be $1.60, and then $1.50. And the more you use, the rate per 1,000 gallons continues to go down.
Yeah, that's not
And
good.
What Joey is saying, and kind of what we're gonna put the chart together with,
Yeah,
when you, after you use that, the average home consumption, what Pam and I talked about, is about, the small family, the 8,000, 10,000 is probably a little bit, more, but anybody using over 10,000 is usually.
I think that's the number, it's 10 or 15,000 gallons where it starts triggering your sewer bill, right?
We cap our sewage rates up at 15,000 gallons.
15, okay, yeah.
And so basically what happens is the more water you use, the cheaper it starts to get. Instead of, when the more water you use, we ought to, instead of that $1.80, we ought to start charging $2.
I agree. Yeah, y'all definitely correct that, but I do know, I just want to make the point, I knew there was some mechanism where you paying more in sewage if you use X amount of gallons of water. Yeah, all right.
Okay, Mr. Chris Kershaw. Oh, you accept, just state your name for the record.
Caleb Kleinpeter. I live on Emily, and we're not tied into the sewer system, so I just want that to be brought up whenever y'all talk about this. Not just for Emily, but I think there's people that live in Irwinville, and a lot of people are on a MODAD system to where I guess we need to look at the cost as far as the sewer treatment plant versus how much water actually costs. Okay, I just.
Yeah, it won't affect you.
Okay.
You don't have this.
Mr. Kershaw.
I'd like to address Mr. Norman's comments. I was on the Brewley Town Council for 11 years. I've been on this council for almost 8, so that's almost 19 years. I cannot remember a single person ever coming to us and say, charge me more money. So I would think the council is a little bit back on its heels, or let me just say it myself, I'm a little shell-shocked, so I'll have to process this information, but I've never seen anybody come up to the microphone and said, charge me more money. So that'll be something interesting to look at, so appreciate it, thank you.
Mr. Porto?
I just want to make a comment to Joey also. We've been talking about this. I know you want to see some action, you want to see us get moving and get rolling, but we've been discussing this for quite a while, and what's happened during the freeze down on the southern end of the property, the parish, has heightened the awareness to what's going on, and has kind of put us in an emergency. Instead of a priority 1 or a priority 2, it's got us bumping on an E to try to get something done. And something else that we can do is what you're talking about.
Any other council members, any elected officials? Seeing none, we're gonna move on to consider status report, change orders, or other matters as required on current projects. A, approve or reject change order number 1, 2, and certificate of substantial completion for the 2018 concrete road rehabilitation program. Mr. Kevin.
Okay, these are the closeout documents for that project. Change order number 1 is $21,105.75, and that was some work that Port Allen wanted to do on Commercial Drive inside their limits, and I think we've been reimbursed back for that work. Change order 2 is a final adjustment. A little bit less work was performed. We normally put some additional panels in there for patching. We didn't need them, but it's a deduction of $11,018.75. No additional days on this project, and we're making a recommendation to accept.
All right. Any questions to Kevin? Do we have any questions? We got a motion by Barry Huggins, seconded by Chris Kershaw, to accept the recommendation from PEC. Any questions? Pee Wee, you want something to say?
You could, vote on that, then I guess
Okay,
move
okay.
on that same
All
item.
right, if there's no other questions on this item, the machine is open to vote for approval. Motion passes.
On that same note, on the water line, we are advertising now to drill a well. You know, we've got everything done, and so, we should know something probably in the next 30 days, and hopefully get that well drilled. We're gonna target around the multipurpose. We'll drill a test well first, and if successful, then we'll move on and we'll drill the big well. We have, like, all but I think 3 properties with the servitude agreement signed, you know, and some of those are tied up with families, and some of the families are hard to find. You know, some people don't even know where they are, but we still working on those and trying to see what we come up to. So, but we all but maybe like 3 little pieces of property is all we got left. So,
Good.
once we get that, we'll be able to have that bidded out as well. We are accepting some RFPs from some engineering surveying firms that would do I guess, in a PFD, they'll take energies right away, and they'll actually put that on, so it'll be able to put it on the plans to where the contractor can bid on, where their survey can go out and stake out exactly where the power line, where our right-of-way that they're giving us to be able to put it on the table, so they know when they bid the job and how to do it. So all that's coming together, and so we actually put on that RFP that it's due by the 18th, and we need to have the work started probably within 10 days and completed within 30. So we're trying to expedite these things as quick as we can.
Good, great. Thank you, Pee Wee. All right. Item number 12, public hearing on previously introduced ordinances, and we don't have any. Item number 13, resolutions. A, resolution authorizing the parish president to submit an application through the Office of the Community Development Local Government Assistance Program. Pee Wee, you want to just let them know real quick what we're asking?
What we decided to do on our LGAP money, I think that's the one you're on C, right?
We're on A, yeah, the first LGAP.
Okay. What we have is the water tower now is part of the long-range project that we're doing, but this is something we could go ahead and get kicked off and do with our LGAP money. In the Addis water line, the 8-inch line goes behind the tracks on Peter Messina Road, and we basically need to tie in there, go under the track, and have a direct feed to the water tower. But we actually got a 2-inch line that goes between like Parker Lane and it stops, and the 8-inch stops, and it's on the other side of the track. We just need to make a connection. So this is a good project for us to do. It's going to require permits for the railroad and stuff.
All right.
So it'll be all 8-inch?
Yeah, it's gonna be, I'm pretty sure it's be 8. We actually got a 6 and a 8, you know, tying it, but it's gonna be a more direct route to the tower. It's gonna give us an extra kind of parallel some existing feeds we got now, so I think,
We're replacing the 2-inch, correct, and putting,
well, actually, we're gonna leave that 2-inch like it is, because it serves a couple of residents, but we'll tie it in. But we can actually take from the backside of the track, go under the track, and we have to go down several hundred feet to tie in to the 8-inch line that feeds the tower.
okay. All right. Mr. Porto?
In that grant, we're trying to get, I think it's $78,000?
Yeah, we may not get that much, but it's actually, they usually have like 125,000 for the entire parish, but this is, you know, each municipality sends their thing in. But we usually get around 70, 75, and so, but we came up with a cost, and we'll submit for the whole thing, and if we get it, good. If not, if we get 50,000, you know, that's.
Right.
that
Yeah,
much.
and I spoke to Pam about this, because I was just questioning about the project in general. And she said, there was an estimate that the total cost of this project probably would not exceed $90,000. So, I mean, if we get $50,000, you know, it's only 40,000 more bucks that the parish would have to kick in. Or Addis might be feeling joyful, you know, and Addis might want to put some money in the pie for that too. So I think it's a good project, and I'm gonna vote for it.
I have any other questions to Pee Wee about it? Any other questions? Seeing none, I got a motion by Kirk Lane to approve, seconded by Chris Kershaw. Seeing no questions, the machine is open to vote for approval. Motion passes. Thank you, Pee Wee. I guess you can stay. Item B, a resolution expressing West Baton Rouge Parish Council support for the fiscal year 2018-2019 capital outlay request for project to construct another bridge across the Intercoastal Canal at State Highway 415 to serve as an alternate evacuation route referred to as the LA 415 Bridge over the Intercoastal Canal, LA 1 I-10 connector. Mr. Berthelot.
Okay, this is mostly a housekeeping thing. This is something that we gotta apply and update every year for our capital outlay monies, and we've been doing this for quite a few years now. And we need a resolution from the council in support as, you know, when we send in our request for capital outlay money. And so the project is a, you know, $133 million project, and so we'll get a couple million, and we could use it on some type of engineering or whatever they allow us to spend this money on, maybe some land acquisitions and some project requirements as we get through this process on it.
Any questions to Mr. Berthelot? Any questions? Seeing none, we have a motion by Phil, seconded by Ricky Loop to approve. The machine is open to vote for approval. Motion passes. Item C, a resolution expressing West Baton Rouge Parish Council support for the fiscal year 2018-2019 capital outlay request for a project to construct a roadway to connect Sid Richardson Road and State Highway 1148. Mr. Berthelot.
Okay, this is the same thing as item D. We have to have a resolution go with our capital outlay. We're not really requesting any more money. The state gave us $150,000 on that project, and we hadn't used it, but we gotta keep that capital outlay request active till we use all that $150,000. So we need a resolution to go along with that continued request from them.
Any questions to Mr. Berthelot? Any questions? Seeing none, I got a motion by Kirk Lane, seconded by Chris Kershaw to approve the resolution. The machine is open to vote for approval. Motion passes. Thank you very much, Pee Wee. Item number 14, introduction of ordinance. Ms. Michelle, you want to read that one?
An ordinance to amend and reenact sections 28-1, created purpose boundaries, and 28-3, creation of sub-districts, fixing boundaries of each sub-district of Article 1, West Baton Rouge Parish Fire Protection District Number 1 of Chapter 28, Fire Protection and Prevention, Part 2, Code of Ordinances of the West Baton Rouge Parish Code of Ordinances, to consolidate the Bruley and Addis Fire sub-districts into one sub-district. Public hearing date September 27th, 2018.
All right, thank you very much. Item number 15, consider subdivision plats, condemnations, waivers, and matters related thereto. Mr. Durbin says we have none. Item number 16, correspondence report. Ms. Michelle?
Just a couple of reminders for everyone. As the parish president had said earlier, the DEQ public hearing regarding Thermodyne, that will be here Thursday, September 20th at 6 p.m. in this meeting room. The next planning and zoning meeting will be held Tuesday, September 18th at 5:30, and our next meeting will be Thursday, September 27th at 5:30.
All right, and I do want to recognize Mr. Mike Walker's in our audience tonight. He is a former mayor pro tem of East Baton Rouge Parish. And Mike, good seeing you here. Mr. Mr. Berthelot.
Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you for recognizing Mike, but also right in the city, right in front of him, Ms. Stacy. She's from Congressman Graves' office, and she's been our leader tonight. Thank her for coming.
Thank you very much. With that,
Need a bridge. Write it down, give it to them in the morning.
with that, we have a motion by Ms. Charlene Gordon to adjourn. Thank everyone so much for coming out tonight.